Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. We're going to be doing a full in-depth review slash comparison of the RawBeautyKristi collaboration with Colourpop. If you guys like these types of videos, subscribe to the channel so you can see more. So I just launched on my channel a full swatches, tutorial, first impression for you, but I did not give you any type of review, and there's a reason for that. I actually did mention in that video exactly this video. It was this video I mentioned in that video. If you guys want to see all of the swatches, first impression, a tutorial, go check that one out. Today is a different eye look from the look in that video. I want to give you guys a full-on review, thoughts, opinions about the RawBeautyKristi collaboration with Colourpop down to every single thing in her collection. And then I also want to show you guys the duped palette that I created between the pure RawBeautyKristi palettes and the Pumpkin Spice Too Faced palette. That video is also up on my channel. Go check that out so you guys can see kind of how I came about finding these duped shades. And I want to see how they stack up today. So let's talk about this palette. Let's talk about this collection. Let's dive into my real thoughts after kind of having, formed an opinion. I was not left speechless by this collaboration by any means at all. There's been other palettes that have left me oh wow, that's really good. They've left me speechless. I just wanted to kind of sit back, test out this palette a little bit more, swatch all of the shades for you guys like I did in that video, see how they applied with a brush, see how they applied with my finger. Now that I've tested out quite a few of the shades in this palette, and I'm talking almost every single shade in this palette, and I have swatched every single shade in this palette, I feel like I can give you a really in-depth review and what I think of this palette and this collection in general. We're going to start out with the least favorite thing in this collection, the thing that I don't like a lot, the palette. And this may come as a shock to quite a few of you. This palette is probably the least favorite thing in the entire collection. There's reasons behind that. It's not the color story. Maybe it is the color story. Maybe it is the color story that bothers me a little bit. I think actually more along the lines of it not only has to do with the color story in here, but it also has to do with the quality of the shadows. It's nothing against RawBeautyKristi. I think that if the quality of the shadows in this palette were a little bit better, I'd probably love it a little bit more. I just feel like the quality of some of the matte shades in here just aren't up to par. So you guys are probably wondering, okay, what shades is she talking about? Actually, most of them have to do with shades that Colourpop usually doesn't use a lot. They don't actually create these types of shades a lot, and that's probably, maybe this is a reason why they don't create these types of shades a lot. Basically, the entire bottom row I've had issues with. The green shades and the blue shade. It's Fiddlehead, then we have Emerald City, and then we have Pacific Northwest. These are the three shades that I've been having a super hard time with. Another couple of shades that I've had a really hard time with blending. Homegrown was definitely really hard to blend out, and it was kind of patchy when I would swatch it as well. So those shades in this entire palette, and they're the standout shades because you don't get a lot of those greens and emerald greens and mossy greens. You don't get a lot of that true blue, dark blue turquoise color in an eyeshadow palette. Those are the standout shades to me in this palette, and they just don't perform the way that they should. I used these three shades today to create the inner corner blue-green color, and I actually started out with Fiddlehead because I thought Fiddlehead would be the easiest one to blend out because it's a little bit more of a, I call it a mossy green, but it is. It's that really deep olivey green tone that I've seen in a couple of other palettes. This one's just a little bit darker variation of the one in the Hocus Pocus palette. I've seen some variations of this color in the Child palette, but not this exact color. And I thought it'd be really easy to blend out. Just have a really light olive tone on the inside inner corner, and I started using it, and it was really hard to blend out. Very patchy on my eye, and I used eye primer. I did. And it was really hard to blend out. The standout shades in this palette are the foils. Hands down, those are amazing. My favorite one is the Evergreen shade. This shade is so pretty. It is a duochrome shade, and it's one of my favorite shades in the palette. I love this shade. The other one, West Coast, is very pretty, very pigmented. It's very foily. I think that those two shades are really standout shades, but they don't make up the entire palette. half the palette is just super hard to blend out. So going up, we're going to talk about eyeliner. These actually aren't like terrible, and I have a couple of their cream gel liners, and I absolutely love my cream gel liners. And I'm not saying that these are bad in any way, and I'm not saying that the palette is bad in any way. It's just that it falls a little bit short. I think these are great. Great eyeliners. The problem that I have with these eyeliners is they're too common. I could go anywhere and I could pick up a green eyeliner, or I could pick up a brown, like a standard brown eyeliner. I understand that Kristi wanted to include those in her collection, so that it's kind of like that staple thing that you can buy. The one that really stands out of all three of these is the yellow one. The yellow one is super pretty. The only problem I had with this one was when I was trying to swatch it the other day, it broke because it lit, like I twisted it and it popped out of its thing. So half the eyeliner is gone. So that's just a flaw on Colourpop's part, I think. This is quite literally, if you can see it, this is the part that popped off, and it was a considerable amount of eyeliner. I think that that is the standout shade. The green is very pretty, and it does go really, really well with the Emerald City shade, and it goes really, really well with the Evergreen shade. Like, it's so pretty. But the brown shade, like, I actually have a Tarte brown eyeliner that I like way more than this. And brown is just so standard. I don't really understand why she would come out with a shade like this. Why wouldn't she come out with like maybe like a turquoise, dark turquoise eyeliner? Or I feel like brown is just too safe, especially when you can buy a typical brown eyeliner anywhere from any brand. I just feel like it's too safe. We have the lip glosses that are more on like the top of my I love list, I like list. Wildflower is okay. It's like a standard gloss shade. Like, any brand will come out with this. I think I actually have a Butter London plumping gloss that's really similar to this shade. That one's okay. It's standard. It's not out of the box thinking. The one that I really like though, that really stands out to me, is the Glacier one, which is literally that clear but glossy gloss. But I really like it in combination with a nude lipstick, and then I put this on top, and oh, it looks amazing. Like, my lips look wet and pretty and fresh, but they're also like nude, and I like the way that it looks, and it's also not too sticky. Whereas some of the other Luxe lip gloss formulas, they tend to be a little bit sticky, and the Glacier one, it does stand out. It is absolutely stunning, so beautiful. Obviously, like, glosses aren't supposed to be used on their own, but I feel like this one, Glacier, like, you can use it on your own. At the start of this video, before I put on Wildflower, all I had on was the Glacier shade, and it literally just like moisturizes my lips, and it makes them look wet, but not like overly wet. It's very pretty and natural, which I really like about it. To me, the Supershock shadows are the showstopper of the collection. I think these these are so, their Supershock shadow formula is very, in the past, I've noticed that it's really finicky, like it can dry out really, really fast if you don't seal it properly. But like, her shades that she used for this collection are so pretty. A lot of these shades, like Mycelium and Olympic, these two are like beautiful eyeshadow topper shades, or like one and done shades. Like, I used this as a one and done the other day. Oh my gosh, it was so pretty. And I couldn't believe how pretty it is, because like the Mycelium is more of like it's like a champagne, but it has like a white reflect in it. That one I used as an eyeshadow, just like one and done, and it made my eyes look wet and pretty, and I loved the way that it looked. Today I did use Olympic a little bit on the inner, like the middle of my eyelid today, and this one is very pretty as well. Like, those are both one and done shadows. Like, they are beautiful. They're really great on top of eyeshadow. Like, they're just, oh, I love the way that they make eyeshadow look. It's more dimensional. It's a great eye topper. It makes it look wet or reflective, or let's glam it up a little bit. Like, it has those aspects to it. And then you have Like a Boss. This is the one that I used in my first impression video, and I used it as an eyeshadow topper, and I love how it transferred the matte flat look to a dimensional multi-chrome look. It was so pretty. It was so stunning. I love this shade because it has that shift in it. And then Campfire. Campfire is just that like standard Supershock shade. It's a copper shade. You can use it as an eyeshadow topper, or you can use it as a one and done shade. It's really pretty as a one and done shade. This one is probably not the one that stands out the most to me among the Supershock shadows that she created. Honestly, like, all of these are absolutely beautiful. The ones that I love the most are definitely Like a Moss, Olympic, and Mycelium. Campfire, that one's kind of on the lower spectrum of things, but it's still really, really pretty. They are the showstopper of the collection because you can use these quite literally with any shadow palette in your collection as an eyeshadow topper, or like I said, as a one and done shade. Like, they're gorgeous. In my video, I actually did a side-by-side of the Pure RawBeautyKristi palette with the At First Sight palette. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but there are a lot of similarities between this palette and the At First Sight palette. I actually pulled a lot of the duped shadows from the Pure RawBeautyKristi collab that came out earlier this year. It was during the summer. Half the shadows came from that palette, and then half the shadows for the dupe came from the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice palette. I'm gonna have to swatch these for you guys so you guys can see like a comparison between the two. But I feel like I did a great job like duping this, but I'm actually going to swatch these for myself, and I'm going to see how well I did with each, and then I'm going to give you guys like a comparison so you guys can see like this is what it was, this is what this one was. Hang tight. Here comes the swatches between the duped and the actual At First Sight palettes. Now obviously I won't be able to dupe the Supershocks because those are like a completely like one-of-a-kind formula. You can't dupe those. At least I don't think so. I don't think there's any company that could dupe those. So it's just the shadow palette that we are going to be like reintroducing the duped tones to, if you kind of get my drift here. So I will go through each row and I will show you guys like what's going on. So here are all the swatches. The RawBeautyKristi one here, this one is Puffball, and the next one is Copperhead from Pure RawBeautyKristi. This one is Chanterelle. This one's from the collab with Colourpop. This shade here is called Pumpkin Spice. It's from the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice palette. This one is Camelot from Pure RawBeautyKristi. Rainier is this color here, and that one's from Colourpop. This one is Ginger Spice from the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice palette. This one is the Colourpop collaboration. It's called Old Growth. And then we have a couple of shades here that kind of match it, but the one that matches it the most is called A La Mode, and that one's also from the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice palette. Now you can see the difference in the swatches that I am noticing. Some of them are very, very pigmented, especially some of the Too Faced ones, and the pure ones are very pigmented. A La Mode did not swatch very well. Maybe it was me. They look really, really similar. For the second row that I duped, so we have here, this one is Evergreen, which is that duochrome shift, and then obviously that one can't be duped, but if you want to try duping it, you can use One Piece of Me with Fall Vibes, and that's from the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice. Obviously, West Coast, it's that true yellow golden color. I actually have a Terra Moons color that is almost exactly the same. And you could try duping it with Camelot, and you would put Golden Ticket on top of it, and they look pretty similar, not as metallic. This one here, Homegrown. It looks very similar to Warm and Cozy from the Pumpkin Spice. And then You're Not My Real Dad is the one next to it, just so you guys can kind of see like a comparison between the two. If You're Not My Real Dad had more of a red vibe in it, it would work way, way better. Amanita, which is this color here. Oh gosh, it looks so similar to You Spicy from the Pumpkin Spice palette. Very, very similar. Hey guys, so here are the swatches from the last row in the palette. And as you can tell, there aren't like exact dupes, except for this one here. But they're very similar. They're in the same color story. So you can get really, really similar looks with the RawBeautyKristi, her two palettes, and the Pumpkin Spice palette. The first dupe, this one is Fiddlehead, and the dupe shadow that I definitely think that you could use this as kind of like the same shade or get something really, really similar out of it, is called Sweetie Pie. That's out of the Pumpkin Spice palette. Then this one, Emerald City, is definitely, it's not the same color as the one in her Pure collab. I mean, it'll be a brighter, poppier look, but it's very similar. This shade here is called Garden State. And then out of the Colourpop palette, we have Pacific Northwest, PNW. This one is very similar to Hurtful. Hurtful is literally just a lighter shade. But again, when you blend it out, are you really going to notice that much of a difference? I don't think so. Now we have a shocker for you guys. The Hocus Pocus collaboration that just came out right before her collaboration. We have I Call It a Bus, which is this color here, and then Let It Rain. And look at these two shades. Same micro glitter, same pigmentation, It's that matte black with that micro glitter in it. So basically it's a matte black, but they both have micro glitter. Like, they're the same shade. So now that you guys have seen the comparison swatches between some duped shades, if you guys have At First Sight and these 3 other palettes that I mentioned, leave your comments below about the duped shades. Like, are you guys gonna go swatch them now? Have you swatched them? Have you seen the duped video? Like, I've got my wheels going now and I'm just kind of like, wow. I stand behind what I said when I initially did my duped video. If you have certain palettes, you don't need the At First Sight palette. Is it great to support Kristi? Yeah, like that's why I bought this palette even after I had duped it. Now looking at these 3 other palettes that I have in my collection, they look like the At First Sight palette. And I hate saying that, but it's true. If you have these 3 palettes in your collection, you do not need to buy At First Sight, which it is restocking on December 11th because it's currently sold out. So if you do not have any of these palettes, if you have none of these, At First Sight is not a bad palette. I'm not saying it's a horrible palette. I'm just saying it can be duped with other palettes. $20 for this palette, 3 for the price of 1. If you guys like these types of videos, subscribe to the channel so you can see more, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!